Hello everyone, today we are talking about the Game of Thrones prequel. George R.R. Martin recently talked to EW about the prequel, and I'll link the full article in the description below. The first thing George revealed was that Westeros will roughly be divided into 100 kingdoms. Remember, this takes place 5,000 years before the events of Game of Thrones, so this Westeros is going to look a lot different compared to the Game of Thrones Westeros we know and love. Of course, not all the kingdoms are going to be grand. George said that there will be a lot of petty kings ruling small portions of land. In George's book, The World of Ice and Fire, A Brief History of Westeros, the Starks defeated and destroyed many houses who didn't accept them as kings. This could be part of the prequel, the Starks rising to power. The second thing George confirmed is that the Starks are in the prequel, which most of us assumed already because it takes place before the Andal invasion, when the first men ruled, who the Starks are descended from. He goes on to say that White Walkers will be part of the show, and direwolves and mammoths will also be in the show.
Those are giants riding mammoths down there!
Once again, we kinda already knew that. There is going to be a lot more magical creatures involved, like the Children of the Forest and giants, just because of when the show is taking place. The third thing he tells EW is that the Lannisters are not in the prequel, or at least not at first. Casterly Rock will be there, but House Casterly will be there instead. House Casterly was the original owners of the rock. According to legend, Lann the Clever swindled it from them, and then created House Lannister. So there is a chance we get to see how the Lannisters were able to get Casterly Rock, because no one really knows for sure. Lann the Clever is the tale that is told, but there's multiple stories of how he was able to get it from the Casterlys. This really just shows how different Westeros is going to be and look. There's going to be a lot of houses that we have never heard of or have seen in Game of Thrones that could be very powerful, like House Gardener, for example, who ruled Highgarden before the Tyrells. We might even get to see Garth Greenhand, who was the first king of Highgarden and is said to be the first king of anything, at least according to legend. So we are going to see a lot of different houses, which should be very interesting. Next thing George R.R. Martin said is that it is going to be an ensemble, which means it's going to be like Game of Thrones with multiple storylines and multiple point of view characters. I do like they are carrying this over from Game of Thrones. Focusing on one person's story would be pretty dull, and it wouldn't be Game of Thrones. Having multiple point of views makes the audience care more about the characters, and gives a more complicated story, which makes it more fun to watch. So this is very exciting news. The last thing he gives us is that the show might be named something different from what we thought. George wants it to be named The Long Night, which I agree, it's a good name for the show. He said it could be called The Longest Night, which I mean, meh. Not as good of a name, in my opinion. Also, just from the rumors I've heard, Blood Moon is another name I've been hearing. George also said he is not writing for the show just yet. He is only writing one thing, which is Wins a Winner, which should excite everyone. Overall, I'm very excited for the prequel series. They've already started filming the pilot in Northern Ireland, so we should be getting some more info here, hopefully. From what George has said and the info we have got, I'm glad it's going to be different. They aren't just going to be telling the same story again. There's going to be different houses and different circumstances that will be in the prequel, which excites me. What do you guys think about the prequel? Leave it down in the comments below, and if you want more Game of Thrones content, please subscribe and check out the Twitter. Link is in the description below, and as always, have an awesome day.
Don't be afraid.